To the first one, I have no problem with, what is it, the free the hops, or something like that. I mean, an alcoholic beverage is an alcoholic beverage, for goodness sakes. You know, I don't have a problem with that. So I would definitely sponsor or co-sponsor legislation on that. The reason the lottery, I'm not in favor of the lottery if I was in the legislature, but I wouldn't have a problem if the citizens wanted to vote on it again at a referendum. I'm not going to stand in the way of that. The lottery is often tossed in there at the same time as the 4% food tax, which is geared directly toward your state education budget. And my problem there is if we eliminate that and we have a lottery, I'm going to be sending my children to school, to public schools, and I won't be paying anything on a state education level because I'm not paying that 4% food tax and I'm not buying a lottery ticket. Now that seems a little unfair and unethical there. But if you're just talking about Bible Belt things, I think I don't have a problem with taxing existing gambling because we've always found that when you try to put something back, put it away, such as alcohol during Prohibition, you just end up with all kinds of problems. So I would just say tax what you have and don't promote anymore. Thank you.
Mr. Richards.
Well, I'm a minister, and so you're talking about Bible Belt. I kind of like living in the Bible Belt. I think that in times of hardship, sometimes we turn to practices or turn to things that don't necessarily lead us to where we want to go. And I think that some of the stress and some of the pressure for gambling and other issues has come back up, has resurfaced because this is a tough economic time. But I think that if we get distracted with these types of things rather than focusing on growing our economy, long term we're going to have serious problems. There are other states who have these same types of legislation that aren't in the Bible Belt, but have huger economic crisis than we have. And so I think that we need to focus on two things. One thing is short-term stimulus. That's what I like to call sugar water. That's where you kind of do some things, you do some small tax incentives, some small boosts to kind of get your economy going in the short term. Then we need to do some long-term things, what I call nutrition. That's where you really look at your education, you look at where your strategic advantage is, and you start to move your economy to where it needs to be long-term. And I think that's the solution to our funding problems, is when we grow our economy both in the short term and in the long term so that we can achieve our long-term strategic goals.
I like the sugar water and nutrition. I'd like to add a little workout to the nutrition. I think what we have to do as legislators to effectively help reduce the cost of tuition is be more effective and more efficient within government. We have to work out the kinks where programs don't produce the results that they wanted, where there are inefficiencies in how we either build or operate within the government. Peter mentioned the removal of sales taxes. You know, the classic answer from a politician is, well, sure, I'd love to remove sales taxes, but where's the funds going to come from? How come no legislator ever says, I'd love to remove sales tax because that's a great idea. How about we make government more efficient and more effective with the same amount of dollars and not increase expenditures but reduce expenditures? Why don't they do that? You know, as a businessman, I have to do more with less today than I did a year ago. Every cost of my business has gone up, but I haven't got rid of any employees because I have to operate a more effective, more efficient manage my business. Why can't government be that way? Why do legislators always have to take revenues from one side and pull revenues from somewhere else? You know, we need to encourage businesses to want to come to Alabama to create more revenues, and I think if we do that, that'll be an answer for that. As far as the lottery and gambling go, I'm not opposed to a lottery. I buy a lottery ticket every now and then when I'm in a state. I'm not opposed to gambling. I've been gambling before. I really just don't think that's a long-term solution to this problem right now, because if you look at these other states that offer these programs, both of those systems are falling in revenue support too, and so are their school systems. So.
I'm a Republican and I'm also a faculty member, and one of the problems that I've had for some time is I think that too often the Republican Party is seen as being against funding education. And if we continue that trend, we're going to be going on a downward spiral for years to come with future voters. Education, a great man once said that education is the passport to the future. Tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. We need to support education. We need to find ways to have greater efficiency, but find ways to support education and not constantly try to attack the education budget for decreases, but find ways to use the money efficiently and in some areas make increases. We need increases in pre-K education so that students can get to college. We need increases in AP education so that students who are trying to excel can go even further. And so I think that we need to be very careful on our side that we're not seen as being education, because I think that's going to be very detrimental to our country and detrimental to the party.
No, I have to agree with them. I take issue with that Bible Belt comment. It's, you know, gambling and the lottery are not necessarily the answers. Last time I looked at those figures, that was a Band-Aid fix anyway. The revenue wasn't going to come in. And look, you're inviting in organized crime into your state when you're dealing with those kinds of things. That's not the answer. But I want to tell you guys in the back, he's right. The Republicans have been seen as stingy when it comes to higher education costs, and that we're to blame there. Nobody is for raising your education costs. Look, I still owe $40,000 on my student loans, and I'm 10 years out. I understand your pain. I get it. You don't need any more. You don't need any more tuition, do you? No. The grocery tax comes up all the time with this. Again, you know, if you're going to get rid of grocery taxes, getting rid of it would be great for our seniors, because that would help people with fixed incomes, but you got to find a revenue stream. So that would be a problem. Free the hops. You know, my last duty assignment, I was stationed at Ramstein Air Force Base, Germany, and my husband was at Spangdahlem. I see some, yeah, go Air Force. And we had a chance to sample some of the best brews in the world. Come to our house sometime. We'll show you some good beer that we've found. But you know, I'm not sure I understand this issue enough to say whether or not it's the answer. Certainly, my husband I would definitely get his vote if I promised him that I would free the hops. I'm getting the hand. But bottom line is, your tuition costs have got to stay where you can afford them, because I don't want to have you in the position that I'm in 10 years later owing a huge bill.
We tend to talk about responsibility and accountability among parents and the things they need to do, but yet and still we are opposed to gambling of any form. I think that gambling is also a source where individuals have the individual responsibility. I think that many of my Republican colleagues talk about, you know, responsibility of parent, and you know, it's the responsibility of the parent to make sure the child is taken care of. It's the same thing with the lottery. You're opposed to a lottery, but it's up to the individual as to whether or not they want to purchase a ticket. So I think that just like we do when some counties are dry in the state of Alabama, we should vote for an education lottery locally. If Madison County wants a lottery and they vote to countywide, that to have a lottery in the state of Alabama, North Alabama, then they should be allowed to do that. And some funding from that should go directly to education within our counties. Look at the amount of money that we spend in other states from lottery. You know, I think it's one state like $64 million they got from Alabama last year. And first, I do support Free the Hops. I also support taxing gaming, and I also support citizens voting for a lottery if it goes directly to education. I would also work with other states. I will go work with other states to see if, in fact, they would be interested in giving us a percentage of the money that we spend in their states. Well, otherwise, we will push a lottery, and we will take all that revenue back and bring it back to Alabama.
The 4% food tax, 1 in 7 Alabamians is on food stamps right now. So the proponents of eliminating that tax often don't tell you that. So the people who are on the food stamps are not paying a tax anyway. So I'm not sure what strata of income that they're talking about necessarily helping there. But the food tax is a consistent tax. It's reliable, and it cuts across all economic strata.